in my eyes, see Oppenheimer. Yes.
There you go, my favorite actor, Al Pacino. There it is. Last night, Oppenheimer takes home the Oscar for Best Picture. It was the biggest winner at this year's Academy Awards, coming into the night with the most nominations with 13 and finishing with 7 wins. Joining us to talk about it, CEO of Regal Media, Todd Smith, and film director Sean Welling. So, you guys, your thoughts on what we saw there on the awards last night?
I mean, I think there's two things to talk about: the movies and also the awards event. And honestly, I miss the old school events when we had Charlton Heston introduce a little kid named Michael Jackson, and he sang beautifully. And instead of all the dancing and the trying to sing. So I really didn't feel it this year as much as I remember feeling it throughout the years. And we were at 18 million. We used to hit 50 million mark. Amount of people watching, the eyeballs on this event. So there's that. I think there's more to it in the past, but hopefully we'll get back there.
Okay. But I think you have to change with the times. I know we had a lot more viewers back in the day, but
we had 4 networks back then.
That's what I was going to say. You had fewer
3
options.
networks and PBS.
And I think with people's... The Oscars has always been criticized for being too long, staying on too late. So you have to jazz it up. It was just as long as it has always been, but I think bumping it up an hour made a big difference because people weren't falling asleep. Oh, I have to go to work in the morning. It was over at a decent time. And I think you have to change it up a little bit, you know what I mean? Because you want people to stay in tune. And we have so many options, so many award shows, and so lively. And to me, the Oscars were always too formal. And so we differ on that. But I thought they did a good job. I thought that they paid homage to some of the things like 50 years ago when a streaker ran on stage and the presenter said, now we see his shortcomings. So you had people playing on that with John Cena. You had Ryan Gosling not taking himself too seriously doing I'm Just Ken. So I thought it was a good balance of being professional, being classy, but also being modern.
Right. Well, I remember the day when I used to see, like for instance, when Sidney Poitier walked out with Morgan Freeman and Denzel Washington. There was power of there that the class and the way they talked and communicated. I think you can be silly, and that's fine. But I didn't find Ryan Gosling to be entertaining like watching Elton John or Michael Jackson or some of the great ones. Just grab a hold of that mic and make something
Billie
special.
Eilish did, though. I think Billie Eilish did a great job performing, but also we can't really compare Ryan Gosling to the Michael Jacksons. And Elton John, you know that from a local standpoint.
And I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just saying they put him there.
Mike,
you know.
So it's a different era. You know what I mean? We're in the Karen was just on talking about TikTok. We're in the social media era. People want to say things to get attention. I love to bring the class back. That's why I call my company Regal. But you have to give them a little bit of both. You know what I mean? Because people are going to be talking, and we know the ratings have been down, and for award shows across the board. So I think they did a great job of correcting that.
And really quick, guys, let's talk about Oppenheimer Best Picture. Your thoughts on that?
Sean hated it.
Hated it?
Look, like I said last time, I'm so excited Christopher Nolan won Best Director because of The Dark Knight. It rolls back in the past. That was a masterful film. So I'm going to see every one of his films. But I walked out of Oppenheimer. I felt like, I was being educated. Remember I talked about this? Difference between being entertained or being schooled and educated. And that's what I felt like in Oppenheimer.
And a film that you bragged about, Todd, for quite some time.
The Holdovers, man. And I still see people on social media like, what is that? One of my frat brothers, God bless him, James Gilmore. He's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, your hometown. Like, what is this? Like, bruh, like, watch this movie. Joy Randolph did a great job. And we talked about it last time. A lot of African Americans didn't like the performance because they thought it was subservient, but there's some power behind her role and her job. And it's great acting, and like I told y'all the last time, great character development. I wanted Paul Giamatti to win. I knew he wasn't going to win because of Cillian Murphy, but I'm glad that Devine got that award, and I loved her speech, taking pride in who she is and saying that she's enough, and the role her mother had and steering her towards the theater. So I was happy for her.
And what about Barbie? Was it Rob?
Nah, Barbie wasn't Rob.
Look at Sonora Harris says it was.
I mean, Barbie was great.
I totally enjoyed Barbie as like great film to just enjoy yourself. But it was no Godzilla like we talked. And Godzilla did win. That was power and cinema and acting, storyline, everything was great.
Are you waiting for Godzilla at the end of the month? Godzilla X Kong?
Oh, It's got some pink stuff going on. The CGI doesn't look good.
Hey, you
don't.
gotta love that charge up though.
Yeah. I don't
And the
know.
atomic breath.
Well,
They're like, who are these people?
I could be wrong.
Thank you guys for joining, and thank you. Hey, support Godzilla. That'll do it for us here on The Factor Uncensored, and we want to wish you a great night and follow us on social media and download the Fox Soul app.